Hi, this is Rachel Israel with STEM News and Global World Report. We have breaking news that will have a huge impact on the global scene in the very near future. Let's take a look at what's going on around the world.
The US dollar has long reigned supreme. It has been the world's reserve currency. This means most international trade is done in dollars. It gives the US significant economic and geopolitical power. However, the ground is shifting. The dollar's dominance is being challenged. A confluence of factors is driving this change. One major factor is the rise of China. Another is the changing dynamics of global trade. The US is no longer the undisputed economic powerhouse it once was. Its share of the global economy is shrinking. This is partly due to the rise of emerging economies, particularly China. China is now the world's second largest economy. It is rapidly gaining on the US. This economic ascent is translating into geopolitical clout. China is increasingly assertive on the world stage. It is challenging the US-led order. The US dollar's dominance is rooted in the Bretton Woods system. This system was established after World War II. It pegged the dollar to gold and made it the world's reserve currency. This gave the US enormous economic power. However, the Bretton Woods system collapsed in the 1970s. Since then, the dollar has been a fiat currency. This means it is not backed by any physical commodity. Despite this, the dollar has maintained its dominance. This is due to a number of factors. The US has the largest and most liquid financial markets. It also has a stable political system and a strong rule of law. However, these advantages are being eroded. China's economic rise has been nothing short of remarkable. In just a few decades, it has transformed itself from a poor agrarian society into an industrial and technological powerhouse. This transformation has been fueled by a potent combination of factors. These include a vast pool of cheap labor, a relentless focus on exports, and massive government investment in infrastructure and technology. China's growing economic might is now translating into geopolitical influence. It is using its newfound wealth to project its power abroad. This is evident in its ambitious Belt and Road Initiative. This initiative is a massive infrastructure project that aims to connect China to Asia, Africa, and Europe through a network of roads, railways, pipelines, and ports. Beyond physical infrastructure, China is also building a parallel financial system. This system is designed to challenge the US-led order. A key element of this is the digital yuan. This is a central bank digital currency that could potentially rival the US dollar. China is promoting the digital yuan for international trade. This could undermine the dollar's dominance. China's efforts to internationalize its currency are gaining traction. Several countries have already signed currency swap agreements with China. These agreements allow them to trade directly in yuan, bypassing the dollar. This trend is likely to accelerate as China's economic power grows. The US trade policy under the Trump administration was characterized by protectionism. It imposed tariffs on goods from China, Mexico, and the European Union. This sparked a trade war with China. It also strained relations with US allies. While the Biden administration has taken a more conciliatory approach, tensions remain high. The US-China rivalry is now a defining feature of the global landscape. The trade war with China had a significant impact on the global economy. It disrupted supply chains and increased costs for businesses and consumers. It also fueled uncertainty and volatility in financial markets. The trade war highlighted the risks of relying too heavily on the US dollar. Many countries began to look for ways to reduce their dependence on the dollar. This accelerated the trend towards de-dollarization. The weaponization of the US dollar for geopolitical purposes has also raised concerns. The US has used its control over the global financial system to impose sanctions on countries like Iran, Russia, and Venezuela. This has led some countries to seek alternative payment systems. They want to avoid being subject to US pressure. The global economy is shifting towards multipolarity. This means that power is becoming more diffuse. No single country or bloc of countries will dominate the world. This is a departure from the post-Cold War era. The US was the sole superpower. Multipolarity is likely to lead to a more fragmented and complex world order. In a multipolar world, regional powers will play a more prominent role. We are already seeing this with the rise of China. China is challenging the US for influence in Asia. Other regional powers, such as India, Brazil, and South Africa, are also becoming more assertive. This is leading to the formation of new alliances and partnerships. The rise of multipolarity has significant implications for the US dollar. In a multipolar world, the dollar is unlikely to maintain its current level of dominance. Other currencies, such as the euro, the yuan, and the yen, are likely to play a more prominent role. This will lead to a more fragmented international monetary system. The decline of the dollar's dominance will have far-reaching consequences. It will reduce the US's economic and geopolitical power. The US will no longer be able to run large trade deficits. It will also find it more difficult to finance its debt. The decline of the dollar will also make it more expensive for the US to import goods and services. This could lead to higher inflation. The transition to a multipolar world order will be complex and challenging. It is likely to be marked by both cooperation and competition.
Join me as I dive into the world of global currencies and see if I can uncover how China is really leading the charge against the US dollar. For decades, the US dollar has been the world's dominant currency, used for international trade, investment, and as a reserve currency. But China's been making moves to challenge this status quo. They're not just talking about it, they're actively working to reduce their dependence on the dollar and promote their own currency, the yuan. China's efforts to dethrone the dollar are not without challenges. One major hurdle is the sheer size of the US economy and the dollar's entrenched role in global trade. Many countries, including China, have significant economic ties to the US, making it difficult to suddenly switch to a different currency. Geopolitical tensions also play a role, as the US has significant influence over global financial systems. The global economy is heavily reliant on the dollar, and a shift away from it would require significant changes to international trade agreements, financial systems, and investment flows. This complexity makes it difficult for countries to completely abandon the dollar. Additionally, many countries hold large reserves of US dollars, which they'd need to gradually diversify. Despite these challenges, China continues to push forward with its strategy. By promoting the yuan in international markets, they're trying to increase its use in trade and investment. They're also forming trade agreements with other countries, like Russia and Iran, to use their own currencies instead of the dollar. And they're investing in alternative currencies, like digital currencies, to stay ahead of the game. A significant recent event that highlights China's rising influence is the growing use of the yuan in international transactions. Several countries have started to use the yuan for settling trades, and some have even begun to hold yuan reserves. This shift is significant, as it erodes the dollar's dominance and paves the way for a more multipolar currency system. The implications of China's actions are far-reaching. A successful challenge to the dollar's dominance could reshape the global economy, potentially leading to a more balanced and multipolar world. The US would likely need to adapt to this new reality, possibly by re-evaluating its economic and financial policies. Recapping, China's actively working to challenge the US dollar's dominance, and it's not just talk, they're making tangible progress. Their strategies, though not without challenges, could significantly impact the global economy. So, what do you think? Will the US dollar maintain its dominance, or is China's push for the yuan a sign of a changing tide? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you're interested in more videos on global economics and finance, be sure to check out my related content.
Well, that's the news for tonight. Thank you so much for continually supporting our content. If you did enjoy this video, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe and turn on the notification bell, and share this with your friends and family. I'm sure they would find it interesting as well. We're very excited to continue this journey with you. We thank you all for bringing certain stories to our attention, and for continually keeping us updated with certain events around the world.